saying, like in Wichita, it's not necessarily the beds are getting tight, but the critical thing right now is the staff.
Yeah, I'm not doing any elective surgeries and things that bring money into the hospitals.
About first call in Mark.
Nothing wrong with some peanut butter chocolate cake. What's that?
He's for basketball.
Oh, but I can hardly wait.
Yeah.
Taking a lot of trouble on their football.
Football, I think there were things on COVID, isn't it?
I think they might as well give up football.
They have football at KU?
Not this year.
When?
Jeez.
WSU's got problems with their coach.
Oh, I
WSU
know.
has problems with their coach.
Do you remember, Leonard, when we were down there for
Uh-huh.
playoffs and Bob Larson
Uh-huh.
parked where he wasn't supposed to and the dumb guy wouldn't let him out?
Well, he called security because someone was parking his parking place.
Oh,
This coach?
oh
You know-
yeah, he's a jerk.
There was a time when we had an opening here for a coach
Mhm.
and Dennis was in the office and Bob was AD
Mhm.
and Marshall had somebody he wanted to recommend for this job. Bob picked up the phone. And I'm Coach Marshall, WSU. And Bob goes, clang. Didn't even talk to him. And looked at Dennis. He said, my turn.
Well, I figured when all those kids transferred that he was in trouble. What, one came back finally?
One, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Marilyn.
Hi. Hi. I like your
You
shirt.
made it. What day is it, Marilyn?
Today is my daughter's birthday, and it's my student's birthday, and is it Veterans Day? No,
That's
tomorrow. And what else?
I am surprised you don't know.
Look at his shirt. I flunked it too.
I don't know.
Ringo birthday.
I didn't know that. Now I do. Thank you.
And we'll never forget it.
So much here.
Oh, my. Everybody's here early today.
Yeah. How are you doing? What you're saying? Like,
Good.
Oh, my gosh. You stayed there?
But saw.
I know. This is only Tuesday, Marilyn. So, like you guys know, both Steve and I got sick from the month. Oh, and we're recovering, so. I'm just trying to do that. Yeah, no worries, I'm fine. We ended up with pneumonia. We're doing okay. I keep telling them.
You're supposed to the vaccine.
I know. I was gonna call my distributor today and see if we can
Get
order.
on the list.
Yeah.
The governor said today on the press conference that the earliest that we would have the meeting in Kansas, they're anticipating is December, probably for the,
Which that's what they said on the national news. So are we gonna have a visitor or no senator or?
Did not get a call from Reed today, so.
And I didn't know which senator you were talking about.
Oh, Moran.
I was thinking of Moran with Reed.
I'm sorry, I knew I talked to Reed, so I knew what senator and I didn't tell.
Good. I was like, what are we gonna talk about?
Kind of what I was thinking too. I was like,
I thought it was gonna be Marshall too, and I didn't know if I had nerve enough to ask him if there was ever gonna be another day of positive campaigning.
Well, it isn't 4 years.
Huh? Oh, yeah.
There was truth to some of it, you know, when you talk about, well, he supported this, that's one vote out of,
Yeah.
it's not like he passed it himself.
Yeah, once you get that.
And you know, I thought
Yeah.
when he ran the first time, did you run against Camp, didn't he?
Mhm.
And I thought he did a good job, but boy, this year,
I
just,
thought so too.
But that's what it takes to win you guys.
well, and then it started out pretty cordial,
mhm.
Right,
and then it just got,
and then it just did a lot of mudslinging. Easy to see how much money it came in on board here from out of state.
Yeah, but the same, I mean, he got it from Washington
It was
too.
like 1% of that. I could use it in so much better ways, yeah.
if you just calculated all the money that's put in advertising through the campaign, I mean, on a national level, think about,
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my, what could we, how can we make a difference?
Yeah, the voter turnout was tremendous.
what was Finney County, like 40%?
Huh?
Or higher?
But
Finney County voter turnout,
Yeah, I think
like
it
40,
was-
37 or 38%?
I think it was almost 40.
Yeah. Which, there again, you think, how hard is it? But that's pretty good considering a lot of times.
places there, I mean, you're lucky that.
Oh, I know.
15%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we want to- I know. It's really good.
Good to see that.
changing the subject, how come I can't get any frozen asparagus at Dillon's anymore?
Get fresh.
Did somebody's crop burn?
Frozen asparagus?
Really?
Yeah, I love it in those bags that you leave it in the
Oh,
bag
yeah,
and you put it in the microwave.
Oh, I never tried that.
I've never tried I've always, just fresh is usually what I go
Yeah.
for,
Well, they were so little this
but
year,
yeah.
but it's in that warm up, you know, I mean, you just
Oh,
leave
like
it in
the-
a package
yeah.
and put it in the microwave.
Steam packet.
Steam packet.
It's good.
I've never,
Yeah, we always get the fresh and then wrap it in bacon. really healthy.
It's protein, what do you mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Protein and vegetables. Bacon's not that good. As long as you don't get a whole pound yourself.
Do you see, Klaus has started carrying those like quail eggs and that?
I did see that there.
They're just like the ones from, I think they're from the same, where Bucky's gets them.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have a 6-shooter salsa. It's like it's a green salsa. It's really good. But the quail eggs, they got the quail eggs and then the hot quail eggs, and they're really good.
Man, those are good.
They are.
Really good.
A lot of people kind of like turn their nose at first, but I mean, it's just like it's a pickled egg. They're just bite size.
Yeah.
But they're creamier. They're like, they got it.
They have the.
Quail eggs.
Oh, do they?
And the pickles and
Huh.
I think she said they're from Dallas, maybe?
Yeah, they're down in Texas, somewhere down in Texas. It's
Yep, that's
right
what
outside of
they had.
Dallas. So they're the same, must be the same.
Yeah.
Because they just label them to whoever.
Yeah. You can find everything. At that Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
It's like a gas station chain.
It's like a Walmart gas station.
And they're really clean.
They are really clean.
They're good.
Like you don't ever have to worry about like their bathrooms or anything.
But if you wanna,
Well-
but if you wanna
Better
gas,
than that.
Better, way better than that, yeah.
if you want a gas station with barbecue, you gotta go to Rudy's.
Yeah,
Rudy's, yeah.
Yeah.
like you said, that
That's the only
That's good,
barbecue gas station combo I've seen.
these early nights are killing me. I
Doesn't feel like
hate,
5:30 when you look at it and see it this dark there.
we've been putting the kids to bed, at 8 o'clock and I'm in bed by 8:30 and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I just go
I
to
just
bed.
take mine now.
I do not do well with the time change. I have bright lights everywhere trying to keep.
Ryan,
Yes,
is
sir.
this Janie Durler? She related to Janelle that played basketball here from over in Spearville?
Well, you know, I've always, I meant to ask her, I don't know if she is or not. She's
Parents
from,
live in Larned.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Well, it's not a normal name. I mean,
No,
not a
it's
common
not.
name. Shouldn't say normal.
What? They're Margaret? Yeah, I think, yeah.
But I think Janelle's maybe down in Liberal now.
Down Liberal Coast
Yeah.
there, isn't she? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, I need to ask her. I thought that same thing. I would bet they are there just because being around Larned and.
William McNeil called me night before last. You probably didn't remember him. Big, they called him Big Mac.
Okay.
He was a football player. No, you wouldn't have been here yet. Anyway, he just said, I was just thinking about you, so I looked up your number and I called you. Anyway, he is so funny because he was this great big guy. And when my office was down here, I had this on my credenza. It was opportunities with airlines. And different things, but mostly it was talking about being a hostess or an assistant or a stewardess or a steward or whatever. And he'd come in and he'd sit there for a little bit, he'd pick up that book and start thumbing through it. And I finally got to a place, I just waited him out. And then one time I had to go somewhere and I said, okay, Big Mac, are you in trouble? Yeah. So I knew
So
when he
where's he
picked
at
up
now?
that book, he's in, what did he say? He has his own, it's like a janitorial and a cleaning.
Huh.
It's in, what did he say? Georgia. Anyway, I was just so surprised because I looked at my phone and it said William McNeil. He was a heck of a football player.
Must have made a pretty good impression on there if you called you after all these years too.
I think it was I thought about sending him that book when I retired, but it was long outdue. He knew Colin. I think we talked about you. And it had been a long time before you got here.
Yeah, I don't remember that name, but I remember revising.
We called him Big Mac.
Yeah, I remember revising so many of those songs. See Tyreek on TV there now. Think back to the years that he was here. Good to see him. Good to see him be successful.
And my son sent in a tweet once for
Huh?
Tyreek.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Dave Rupp says this. He goes, thanks, Dave. Because I know
Oh,
one of
yeah,
his
it's
classes.
criminal justice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad it wasn't Patrick Mahomes. We could say, hey, send us some money.
Man, that contract.
Rick only got $3 million. So.
He keeps it up, then we'll get a nice contract.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Keeps out trouble and all that.
I was gonna say,
yeah. If he-
he's the
He's done a
Yes.
lot. So.
Yeah, I
He's
think
supposed to.
it seems like he's got his head on swivel.
Yeah, it does.
Straight.
Yeah,
Tell them to send some good autographed stuff for the endowment auction.
I know. He's been staying in pretty good contact with us here this last year, so. Have to get some more stuff.
Have his buddy Patrick sign it too. Before we get to the endowment.
What can Travis send us? What can Patrick
Mhm.
send?
Well, Al engaged, right?
Yeah,
Mike. I know he went to Garden because I remember finding something for him so he could enroll.
yeah. He's been doing well down at LSU.
Like Patrick could send money. Endowment.
Yeah, he had paid, well, he split the cost of the Chiefs. Paid for the Arrowhead to be converted into a voter. About,
Polling station.
Yeah.
And didn't he pay for people to get there?
oh, yeah, maybe.
When he was saying that, I don't know, I see it was part of the world.
He owns like
Yeah,
a
that was one of his big
Right
pushes after the contract.
Like-
wasn't it?
1% or something like that, or
Well, he's bringing in some kind of franchise, isn't he?
Oh, his favorite,
Something like ketchup.
his favorite hamburger.
Yeah.
In-N-Out burger.
Oh,
They're coming to Kansas City.
Yeah.
How about that?
oh.
I know Whataburger's coming to Kansas.
Oh, is it really?
Are they?
I don't see those here at all.
Whataburger is moving into Kansas. I think Wichita's slated for it, but
Good.
honestly, around here wouldn't be too,
No,
I mean,
not at all.
you're up in the Texas Panhandle and up. I'd take a Brahms.
I want a Brahms.
You know why we can't get a Bronx?
It's the distance from Tulsa,
Yeah.
the travel, which is hard to believe that they can do it liberal
but-
Well, and then Great Bend.
and Great Bend even.
Great bid, yeah.
Yeah.
With all the dairies that are around here now.
Like you said, it's the drivers have to be home every night and they only travel so far because of the milk products. So they want them fresh.
It's an extra hour up here from Lakeville.
Like I said, and if they can make it to Great Bend,
Yeah.
you'd be.
I'm wondering if I wondered if there was another one that brought to Great Bend, but maybe not.
I think that's just
Another,
a crappy excuse.
I think it's,
oh, that ice cream is so good.
That one I went to, usually.
their burgers are good. I mean, they really are. If we travel down to Texas, that's usually, a lot of times we'll leave from the office. And we'll stop there and get the kids' meals. We'll get meals
Yeah.
at Brahms. and get a shake and
There's
everything.
one in Emporia too, isn't there?
Is there? I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's one in
Is there?
Korea.
It's, as you go on that bypass,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, as you go around.
okay. It's been so
Out
long
there.
since I've been in Emporia.
Yeah, there's a couple of them in Washington.
And Wendy's, I hit the fast food places event since I hate cooking for myself.
Well, I tell you what, trying
But
to find
now-
somewhere to eat on the weekends, they're all stacked up.
Now, I mean, they're,
hate
now-
going to McDonald's to try to get coffee.
No, can't at the
I
moment.
like when you go through Wendy's, it says, I'm sorry, you can't have lettuce on your sandwiches because the lettuce, crop, whatever. Everybody else in town's got it.
Huh.
And then they have like, oh, we're only gonna be able to see out there.
Till 10 or
I
something
went
like
to,
that.
the other day, I had no crowd, and of course, I'd been somewhere that was early, oh, wow, don't have to wait. They weren't open until 2 o'clock that day, and it was so funny. As I was driving out, there must have been 10 cars pulling in thinking the same thing.
McDonald's in the morning,
It's been
if you don't, like, we usually drop off the kids at 7:45 and then race over to McDonald's, but usually we're in the access road to try to get in.
Yeah.
Now we've done the mobile where we order it mobily and then just go and park, and then that seems
Oh,
to speed
yeah.
up pretty
I
fast.
haven't tried that.
But I mean, it's like just to get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I was waiting in line for 10 minutes.
Tell you what, Sonic, I do the app order ahead all the time.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Happy hour all the time.
Yep.
And the funny thing is on that app on Sonic, Shelley has it, but down level, they do a lot for the teachers, you know, they can have free whatever. So anyway, she put on it, they gave her the wrong thing or something. So she was putting on her app, she said, I ordered this and there was no whatever it was. And she says, they'll send me a free coupon now.
I had a Sonic duty, just pulled into stalls and.
Yeah, well, you check in, you tell them to stall,
Oh, okay.
remember?
Oh,
And you can set it for ASAP within 5 minutes, or if, if you want lunch ready at 12:15 and you
right.
put it in at 10:30 and.
I'll be darned.
The only thing that, one time I was leaving Plaza Medical, I was gonna order Diet Coke beef, and I wasn't paying attention. So I get to the one on Kansas, well, they had picked the one on
Yeah.
Buffalo Jones was
5
closer,
points.
a little bit, or whatever word it is, a little bit closer, so I went there.
Well, and where we're at, we have to be careful because ours sometimes picks up Holcomb instead of,
Yeah,
like, no.
Now they've closed that one down and put in Godfathers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. It was terrible.
It was the worst Sonic I've ever been to.
I know.
Yeah.
Their drinks didn't even taste the same.
No. It took forever.
I went out there, I stopped out there when I was doing a United Way presentation. I only went through it once, so I thought I'm never going to that one again.
I used to go to it quite a bit when I'd be taking Jane up to school.
It's not the same owner, it's not,
No,
what's his name?
Larry, you think?
Yeah, UT that owns the one in Cimarron.
Larry Yuffie.
Yeah.
no, I'm not sure who the owner is there, but
Is that the same one that owns, I think the one in Scott City owns the one in Holcomb, maybe.
yeah,
That could
that
be.
might be right. So I think they were putting them in around the same time.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the Scott City numbers on the virus?
Are they not reporting them?
No,
Oh,
they
they
are,
are?
but it's
Oh.
big now because of the women diddle,
Oh,
Oh,
because they didn't have very many.
they still want to hit and have that?
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow. It's like a craft show that they have up there. It's huge.
Yeah, it's big.
Is Everett Green still their mayor?
I don't think so.
See, he caught it. He was one of the first ones. I think he was number 2 that caught it. He went to school out here. And he was a DJ for, I can't remember, was it Caluo? I don't know.
Click his tail.
Huh?
That's a quick reach down where I went to high school.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we lived a mile over the county line. And the week before school, we got told we couldn't come to the garden.
I went out to Betty Joe John's burial, where they had a gravesite.
Oh, this is gonna make me sleepy.
And
Isn't that good?
Mhm.
I had,
Dark out?
now they have
Peanut butter
I have
cake, I'm
well,
ready for
Greg's
that.
dad buried out, just buried out there, Larry. But now they've got, somebody gave them a board
For now.
and you can find everybody that's there.
Figure out what dietary changes I gotta make.
How long has it been since shallow water was
But
open there? I mean, how long did that school be shut down?
Oh, I didn't know they were shut down. I thought they still had some kids.
Oh, do they? That school is still being used or not?
there, that thing that, it's on the south side of the road. No, I mean, west side. And it, you wonder why it's still there. It's just a little shack. But when I go to school, we have friends, we're from Shallow Water, of course, in Scott City. It's on a Saturday night, a lot of times we meet at this place. It was a fun
It's a
little thing.
refinery, isn't it?
Huh?
A refinery?
It was
A
a lot,
restaurant?
yeah. We had a great time, you know, they had the jukeboxes that you could punch in. So we didn't have, cell phones, so we'd have to make arrangements before we left school on Friday. Yeah, we lived back there. Whatever.
Like, just a reminder that TV's like.
Oh, okay, yep,
Yeah, we got
okay, yep, I got 5:59. Everyone ready? Want to turn 6 o'clock? Everyone good?
Well,
How can the TV be slow?
I don't know, but it is.
Weird. I can probably go on there and whatever computer, fix it. No worries.
I'm glad you said something. I was like, man, I still got the phone on.
But I wonder why they don't tear it down. It's just a shack out
Or
there
even the
now.
refinery part back there,
Okay,
refinery part too, so.
I've got 6 PM. We'll go ahead and call the Garden City Community College November 10th Board of Trustees meeting to order. Once again, we're here and keeping up with practices of Garden City Community College and the masks. So I'll make sure everyone, please state your name if you're speaking so that everyone understands who's talking, and we'll do roll call as well for votes. And to start off, we'll do a roll call for everyone that's present. This is Blake Wassinger, present.
Shanda Smith, present.
Marilyn Douglas, present.
Beth Tedrow, present.
David Rupp, present.
Leonard Hitz, present.
Okay, thanks everyone for coming out tonight. Just a few things from myself, and Dr. Ruda may touch up on a little bit of it, but over the past month, we had the GCC endowment campaigns, both by direct mail and phone-a-thon. Both exceeded their goals. The phone-a-thon was set at 40,000. They brought in just shy of 45,000. The direct mail goal was at 30,000, and they brought in just a little over 34,000. So still some more pledges coming in, but obviously great news and great work on everyone that was involved with that. I know that's a lot of time, but certainly helps out. Dr. Ruda and the Halo Club President, Carla Gonzalez, also judged the first ever Halloween decoration contest. And there were 3 places with winners. The first place being Cosmetology at $150 they got. Halo took in second at 100, and then PTK Quiz Bowl took in third place at 75. So congratulations to those three. Great event, especially when we're so limited on some of the things that we can do. But great to see something like that going on. Also, we noted that our GC3 PR and marketing department, they were awarded a NCMPR, which is the National Council for Marketing and PR, a medallion award. They received a gold for the Garden City Community College View Book and a silver for the Centennial Magazine. And now they're entered into the national level where they can compete with community colleges worldwide or nationwide. So hats off to them, great job. Obviously, you've seen those marketing materials and that, and they really are kind of top notch. Great accolades to them. And I know Amy had sent out a copy, and if you need that resent, but that ACCT Leadership Congress, we have an access to those, and I think you said through December or after?
Until May, the end of December.
Till the end of December, so you can access any of those webinars, and make sure, like I said, if you at least log on. Like I said, there's some good things, and on your own time, that makes it nice. We will have an executive session tonight, just to restate to everyone, and we'll cover that. The only other thing is Dr. Ruda, we look at it. Have we sent out a date? No, we haven't talked about. We talked about getting together at the end of the year here, roughly last or a month ago or 2 months ago, to kind of look at some of the goals that we had set, particularly the building, the board assessment, and also the president's assessment. I got in touch with Pamela Fisher, and we looked at a date, was it December 11th? It's after our next board meeting. It's a Saturday, is that right? What we looked at, and we were thinking, if you guys can look at that date, I think it's the 12th. Yeah, it would be the 12th. We figured it'd be more appropriate at the beginning of the month versus at the end of the month, where holidays and whatnot. But if you guys can look at that date and get back to either myself, Ryan, or Amy. I know Pamela is going to make herself available, and we just need to confirm with her. She'd be via Zoom for some discussion and maybe direct us in with that. And hopefully everyone's been kind of doing their own research on some of those topics that we've asked you to do from the last board meeting. But if there's a problem with that date, please direct it to us as soon as possible, because like I said, we'd like to get that set. And I think we were talking about maybe just doing like a morning, for 3 hours or something, nothing to overwhelm you, or maybe, 2 hours break and then another 2 hours or something like that. So it wouldn't be the whole entire day, but it would certainly be, take some of your time commitment. So please look at that. Other than that, I have nothing else, but I know we do have some new employees to introduce. Is that right, Dr. Ruda?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll start with Colin. Have you start with your employees there, please?
Yeah, Ryan, I'll go ahead and introduce Coach Bob Larson, the interim athletic director, and he'll go introduce athletics right now.
Hello, Board of Trustees. The first one up, I'd like to introduce Mackenzie Rowlett. She is an assistant softball coach with us. The next one is Chris Creel. He is an assistant track and cross-country coach. They leave tomorrow for the cross-country national championships. And my last one is Adam Austin. He is an assistant football coach and will be coaching wide receivers. So that is our new hires so far.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you, coaches. Thank you, coaches.
Okay, and I had one to introduce tonight, and his name is Robert Scrivener, but he's campus police officer. But as we speak, he is actually on duty right now. So he had texted me and said that he was unable to show up on Zoom tonight. So, but Robert Scrivener is our new campus police officer, and he was hired in September. So.
All right.
Great.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you.
Mark?
Hey there, everybody.
Oh.
I have three. I apologize. We were having some technical difficulties. I have three people to introduce, and none of them are here. They may be in a list that Andrew is unable to identify who they are. So one is Ross Addison. He's a new carpentry instructor. We're excited to have him. He is coming from Hugoton High School. Brett Hare is a new full-time automotive instructor. He has been working with the program for quite some time, but we were able to move him to a full-time position. We're very excited about that. And then Anita Gray is a research analyst. She is helping to fill out the institutional research office. So we're excited to have Anita on board.
All right, thanks, Mark. I think that is it. It just caught up, I think.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, we'll go ahead and move into the consent agenda. Anyone wish to have anything removed for further discussion?
I'd like to have C2.
The checks over 50?
Yes.
Okay. I have a motion or anything else would like to be removed?
I'd like to have D, this David, and I'd like to have D.
Okay.
Consider approval.
Okay. Anything else?
What one?
D.
Okay.
Got C2 and D. Anything else? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the remaining consent agenda minus C2 and D?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items A, B, C, excluding C2 and excluding D as presented.
This is Beth. I will second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Marilyn and a second by Beth. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, we'll do a roll call. This is Blake, aye.
Shanda, aye. Marilyn Douglas, aye.
Beth Tedrow, aye.
David Ruff, aye.
Leonard Hits, aye.
Okay, so let's go ahead and bring up C2, the checks over 50,000.
I just have some real superficial questions. The one here for the lease purchase on the athletic field, how much time is left on that? How many dollars are we left for? And I have the same question for the 47,000 and 332,000. I'd like to know how much longer we have on those.
I think we're about done. If it's like one more payment
Yeah,
on the
I think we
field.
have-
We just looked at that when we was looking at the.
Yeah, on the
There's
budget.
2 years left on.
Yeah, I can't recollect.
Is it 2 years left on it?
Okay, the field will be paid for, on June 1st of 2023. And then what was the other one, I'm sorry?
Well, then the 47,000 on the revenue bonds on Buster Housing. How long is that sticking out there for? And then the other one was the Clarion Holdings on lease purchase for Buster Suites #2.
The bottom three.
I don't have any problem with it. I just want to kind of know how much longer we're obligated. And these are all semi-annual payments, aren't they?
They are. Okay, so what we presented at the board retreat is kind of a summary. The field, the balance due is $852,597 in principal. And interest is $40,600. Interest, and like I said, that'll be paid off in June of 2023. And the Bronchbuster housing, that will be paid off June, the revenue bond will be paid off June 1st of 2027. The balance due is $3,120,000 in principal and $390,238 in interest. The Bronchbuster Suite 1, its payoff is April 1st of 2026. $954,545 in principal. And $74,618 in interest. And then the second Bronchbuster Suite payoff is 11/1 of 26. You have 2.1 million left in principal and 226,380 in interest.
Thank you, Carla.
You're welcome.
Any further
No.
into that? Just wanted to know the clarification.
No.
Okay. Anyone else have anything on those? Okay. Then we'll move over to the consideration and approval of building controls. That was on D on consent agenda.
My question, I guess, is this takes care of the whole campus then, getting everything to match
On the control
on the
side.
control side?
Yes.
Does that regulate all offices so they'll be pretty close to the same temperature or?
Yeah, so it regulates all buildings. And what it does is it'll essentially be able to control the boilers, so all of your HVAC system, but then also serves as a monitoring system there to where if there's fluctuations or there's any issues that are coming up there within the system there, then it alerts Derek or his staff there on the system overall. But it does help to be able to start controlling the temperature better there with.
Does it add more control thermostats to the building?
I don't think it has anything to do with thermostats in the building there. It's just the overall system mechanism for controls.
Everything's controlled from one platform, or Derek's on there, we want to ask him.
Yeah, what it does is it allows us to remote access in and to control the temperatures in each space. So I can see what this is, the energy center. So it's the chillers and the boilers. We can see what kind of temperature water that it's sending out. So I can control the heat or air conditioning that's going into certain buildings. So I can see it, like if it's not working, it sets an alarm to our phones or to our emails, and then we can come in and figure out that way instead of not getting those alarms like we aren't now, and we have to come in periodically like on breaks and check it. So it allows the possibilities that the guys don't have to go in and we can remote in to control temperatures throughout the campus.
Okay, I was just wondering because of some of the DPS offices over there, one may be 80 degrees and the other one may be 30.
Yep. So right now, the first phase, this is phase 2. Phase 1 was the SCSC building, the ACAD, and Faust. This will take care of our energy center where the boilers and chillers are. JCVT, the band building, Pinka, Fine Arts will be in phase 3. So this is only phase 2.
Okay. Thanks, Eric.
Any other further questions? No? Okay. Well, with that, I would ask that those items be approved.
I'll make a motion that we approve them.
That would be C2 and D.
Yeah.
This is David, I'll second that motion.
Okay, we got a motion from Leonard to approve item C2 and D of the consent agenda, and David Rupp to second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. And this is Blake Wassinger, aye.
Shanda, aye. Marilyn, aye.
Beth, aye.
David, aye.
Leonard Hitz, aye.
Okay, great. All right, moving on. We do have a presentation from Samantha Sanger for the liberal arts and science. And I believe we do have her. I saw her there. She's loading up. There she is.
They're gonna pull up the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Oh, you're on mute there, Sam.
Good, thank you. I don't teach like this every day or anything. I should have known. So I have a short PowerPoint about the LASC program. And then I'll see if you guys have any questions for me. Okay, apparently it's not going to go to slideshow mode. Oh, there it goes. Maybe. It works when I teach class, I promise. There we go. One more try. Okay, can you guys see me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. I apologize. Liberal arts and sciences is what we call the LASC program, and its mission is to develop ethically and socially minded individuals that will impact their communities locally and globally as leaders and lifetime learners. Students in the program will have a broad knowledge of and specific skills to communicate orally and in writing, apply critical thinking, and demonstrate social responsibility and diversity awareness. Liberal arts majors can focus on interdisciplinary, fine arts and humanities, or math and science studies. There are technically 3 LASC programs. There is an associate in arts, an associate in science, and it is our only associate in general studies program we have at the college. So last year when SLAT, the Student Learning Assessment Team, undertook the program review for LASC, it was not a small task, and we learned a lot of things about this very unique program. The first of which is that it's not housed within a specific department like English or business or fire science would be, because it is so interdisciplinary. That in and of itself has made it a challenge to assess. You probably noticed in the mission statements that the learning outcomes are the 5 essential skills. And then each of the 3 programs has an additional specific learning outcome tailored to the degree, whether it's the AA, the AS, or the AGS. For example, the AAs is to apply tools, technologies, and methods common to the humanities and fine arts. And the AS is the same, but applied to mathematics and sciences. We also determined that as it is a very unique program, it serves several functions on our campus. There are several reasons why students major in LASC. It is a place where our undecided majors often go as a way to try on different programs and different disciplines. Some of our students don't have the program, we don't have the program they're looking for. For example, we had one young man who wanted to do landscape architecture. Great program, not one we offer. And so by doing LASC, he was able to choose from among courses to create his own landscape architecture program through our college. As I said, it is the only general studies degree we offer. So if that is what our students are after, they are LASC majors. Some of our students come just because they need a degree. They're working at a full-time job, and to get that promotion, that advancement, they need to get a degree, and they don't necessarily have a major that they're interested in specifically. So LASC works great for those students. Some transfer institutions, even if we offer a major, have very specific requirements for their programs that don't necessarily align with a lot of other programs. So similar to our student who was the landscape architecture major, we can use LASC to tailor a program specific to students who are going to a very specific transfer institution with specific requirements. And some of our students start programs at GCC and switch majors. Some of them switch majors multiple times. And the time comes when they're ready to transfer, but perhaps haven't fulfilled all the requirements of the major they finally landed in. And so they may graduate as an LASC major, so they can go ahead and move on to their transfer institution. What we learned by serving a variety of these purposes with the 3 different degrees is that LASC poses some challenges, specifically on the assessment side. Because there are so many purposes for the major, because LASC is not housed in a particular department and is so interdisciplinary, it has been challenging to do curriculum planning, program assessment, and to identify program ownership, who to put in charge of those areas. Based on the feedback from the program review done by SLAT, an LASC committee has been formed, and we are currently meeting. We are working on several things to help improve oversight over LASC and to ensure our students are meeting the goals of the program and their educational goals, and to guarantee that we can document and assess that those things are taking place. The committee is comprised of the assessment coordinator, which is me, the director of advising, which is Leslie Winsel, and a number of other faculty and staff advisors. Together, we are researching comparable degrees at other institutions, both 2 years and 4 years. We are reviewing the program learning outcomes and the course curricula. We are coordinating with advising to make sure the program is being used in ways that are functional and to make sure that other programs are getting their majors. We are establishing an assessment plan, and we're functioning as quality control for this wide interdisciplinary program to make sure our students are meeting the ends. Do you have any questions about LASC I can answer for you?
Anyone?
Sounds like you got it under control.
Thank you.
Thank you. The cool
Thanks, Sam.
Samantha, this is
Program
Marilyn Douglas. I do have a question for you. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
I picked up an entirely different tone from you. I picked up that you were, that things weren't quite organized like you want, like they should be. That
So
you
what
don't
we-
have a house, you don't have a program home that you can, or a curriculum, and you guys are trying to put that all together. So what happened up to this point? I mean,
Well, largely because LASC was that major interdisciplinary area, it didn't have a home. It's something we determined through program review, and it shows our assessment processes are working. Our students are graduating with LASC, they are meeting requirements, they are getting exposed to the 5 essential skills. We just need to make sure we have a system in place that allows us to document that and to ensure that assessments are happening and to make sure the ownership is held. And that's part of what we're working on, part of the reason we have our committee. The good thing that came out of it is we show program review works. And the plan going forward for what we're moving on to next. It's not an easy program. It's kind of a messy program. It serves lots of purposes for lots of students for lots of different things, which makes it a challenge. But it's not a challenge that other institutions don't face. And it's not a challenge that we can't work through. And the goal coming out the other end is not only will it be best for our students, but we will have those processes in place. And we're already seeing movement there in works of our committee and in reviewing the program learning outcomes and narrowing the purposes of the program. Those conversations are happening, which will make it easier.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, too, I mean, but I think, you know, part of it there though too in the past is that we had what was called undecided, or we had general studies students there. So students that were coming in that maybe didn't know their career path, didn't know where they want to go, but they know they want to work towards transfer. They want to start working towards a degree. What the LASC does there, that is start to really direct them onto a specific pathway. So now we can start guiding them into the better transfer pathways at the four-year institutions, putting them on a more succinct path.
That's one of the main conversations that's happening, is helping our undecided students to get onto a pathway more quickly. So they are taking the courses within the areas that they're going to transfer into. And that's one of the good things that's coming out of this, especially with working with advising, is what can we do to help our students find their home.
Sounds like this is a career path for the AA program for the criminal justice.
Mm-hmm.
Since they can't do it right now.
Samantha, have you run into any courses that don't transfer? And if yes, what do you guys do about it?
At the current time, LASC is set up largely on universal transfer courses, but allow for students to take what we would call like majors courses from other areas as well. So they can try on, you know, a business class and try on a computer science class and do a little of that exploration. Generally transferring, it's whether they transfer as electives or into a majors program. And that's one of the challenges, of course, is to get our students into those majors as quickly as possible.
Okay. I would say advising is the biggest part of your program and the biggest challenge.
Well, and the co-chair, there are two of us chairing the committee, and our co-chair is the director of advising. So we are working very closely with advising on this particular program.
Okay. Well, thank you for your report. Thank you for answering my questions. Appreciate it.
Of course.
All right, thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam. Okay. That will go into the confirmation of honoring reports. No ends, right? No, and then just the review of B1 work preparedness, page 5. What's the flip to that? And it's all of them, right? Okay. Students will be prepared. So the policy title is work preparedness. Students will be prepared for success in the workplace. Students will have the skills and knowledge required for successful entry into the workplace. 2, students will have the discipline and collaborative skills necessary to be successful in the workplace and have exposure to relevant work ethics. And then 3, students will have the skills and knowledge necessary to maintain, advance, or change their employment or occupation. Yes.
Yeah, I just had a couple comments. I think in this end, the 2 key words here are prepared and defining prepared and defining success. And when I reviewed the report from last meeting, our institution is defining success as meeting the needs of business and industry. And they described the top 5 skills that were taken from a 2020 survey from Job Outlook. And those skills are critical thinking, problem solving, teamwork, collaboration, professionalism, work ethic, and written communication skills. Additionally, they also add that leadership, verbal communications, initiative, attention to detail, and technical skills are included in the definition of success. At GCCC, the report included technical training from nursing, fire science, and animal science. It included their pass rates. In general ed, it's the completion of a degree and the skills that they obtain. And so to demonstrate all of that, we talked about clinical rotations, internships, activities, demonstrating knowledge through exams. And also success was defined as having the skills of attending classes, using some of the like cosmetology and welding. We use a time clock to help meet their required hours. So I guess as a board, I'm asking you if that's an okay definition for success. It's hard to measure, but I think in a big, broad way, they've done a good job. And I don't know if there's anything else that I would add to that, but I would love to hear any of your opinions.
I agree, because some of the fields that you mentioned have their own statute requirements and certifications, so I think it's enough.
Yeah, I think, you know, from the employer's standpoint, if they're telling us what the success is and if we're meeting that, I don't know that we need to change anything. I mean, obviously, if we're, you know, and from workplace to workplace, that's going to be different, like David was saying. And like I said, if we're meeting those, I don't know what more we can, I mean.
Yeah, the key to that is making sure we stay in touch with that
yeah,
workforce and making
absolutely.
sure, and as long as we do that, this works with that.
I had just one other comment. Number 3, students will have the skills and knowledge necessary to maintain, advance, or change their employment or occupation. That one I questioned why we included that, and the report mentioned, you know, that GCC exceeded the state targets that were set for some of the skills defined in this. But I found it kind of a weird something to consider. What do you guys think?
I don't think it distracts from anything.
Is that just more or less like the sending out the, you know, like the courses that we offer like online for the continuation of CEs or things like that that they can do? I mean, is that, I mean, more or less that's what we're going after and saying, hey, you know, we have these options available to maintain those, your current occupation, or and I'm guessing through all that is also just staying in communication and saying, you know, that these are available. I mean, I'm guessing that's.
This is Beth. When I was working with students and working with my own, I mean, with me and my children, they don't just stay in one occupation. So we are preparing them that they can change. When I was working, I think the average that a person could change their occupation or did was like 7 times in their lifetime. And so that speaks to it. They have the skills necessary and knowledge that they can make these changes.
Well, and number 1 addresses successful entry into the workplace. That's more your traditional straight out of high school student. And that, of course, isn't the only type of student we serve. So by number 3, addressing maintaining through continuing education or advancing or changing employment. I think we address more the non-traditional students that aren't just entering the workplace. They're just wanting to change up. their standing in the workplace.
We give them the ability to keep learning, so they can keep improving themselves, is how I read that too.
Okay.
Because there's some that can study all day and not learn, but
I just, I wasn't quite sure what it meant,
Yeah,
to tell you the
that's
truth.
what it means to me,
So,
working with former students. And shoot, if I hadn't been able to change, I'd have been working in a hospital in a lab, and I didn't want to do that the rest of my life.
But
so.
yeah, I see that number 3 as a way to acknowledge that not every student we have is a traditional, just entering the workforce kind of student, and it's made to encompass the variety of students we have.
I also kind of wonder if it refers to the skills of communicating to your employer when you want to change, or that we teach our students that to maintain and be a good employee, you have to do this, this, and this. Do you think?
I think there's some of that there as far as the aptitude of different occupations. I mean, the example that I would say is, you have a lot of returning learners that come back from college, and maybe they've been, the one that comes to my mind is an individual who's been in teaching for about 10 years. He realized teaching just was not for her anymore.
Right.
Wanted to go into nursing. And, to me, I think number 3 speaks to, the different aptitude there that you may have to have, and different skill sets you need to have from teaching to nursing.
Sure.
And, that's part of our role, and part of what it is that what we do is help them be able to attain and learn those skills to be successful in the workplace as well.
Okay. So you guys are
Are
satisfied?
you okay? No
Yes.
With
change
it?
of language?
Yes.
Okay.
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 Sounds good, thank you.
Thanks, Marilyn. Moving on, we don't have anybody signed up for public comments, is that correct? Okay, so we'll go right into item B, President's Report. Dr. Ruda?
All right. First thing, I'll just draw, at your seats, but I would draw your attention to the handout there that says Finney County Spark. I just want to give credit to the IT staff of Carla there this last week. We did receive word there that the county commission had approved the funding for the network switch refresh, which the board had approved earlier this year. What this does is allows the project to be paid in full. And one thing that I would say there with this, it was a competitive process. On page 3, it does outline as far as the standing on a scale of 0 to 100. So at the very bottom of the page, with regard to the community college is listed. On the funding aspect, that we received 100 points there for the grant request. County Commission had approved this over the past week, which will help move the college forward there financially on that end. Secondly, just a couple of student highlights that I think are important. We have one of our former students, Kayla Steiner, who was awarded what is being called the Super Bowl scholarship. She earned a $14,000 scholarship from Fort Hays State University through the Teacher to Leadership Program, which prepares individuals to become math and science teachers in rural school districts. So Kayla, this is the second year that she's received that scholarship, and then essentially was training them to be able to come out, and then they have to put in so many years teaching in a rural system in math and science. So congratulations to Kayla. And then also congratulations to Flor Martinez, who is a student in our Garden City Career Connections Academy. Flor, Hector had notified us here this last week, and his staff, Flor has been named as the National Student Champion in the GED program. And she will actually be earning a $500 check for her accolades and her work there in that competition. So a couple of good stories there of student success on that end. I also would draw your attention to the screen on the wall here.
That was so neat.
Our carpentry program, I'm extremely proud of Ross Addison and the work that he's done with his students. They actually embarked on a project and worked with several local contractors, Justin Doniker, and several local contractors, and spent altogether 4 days up in Colby, Kansas, building what you see this play set. And I don't remember having a play set like this, but they spent 4 days for Make-A-Wish Foundation for this little boy up in Colby, Kansas, putting this together and constructing it and surprising him when he got home from the hospital. It's just a great testament of the skills and really what they're learning in the carpentry program, but also giving back to the community there as well. So congratulations to Ross and the students and all the local contractors that helped on that project. A few other points. I just want to let you know that, again, as part of kind of our work with the community, we are partnering with Genesis Health Services, and we have started as of Monday doing community testing here on campus. There was a need to be able to expand testing that's available here in the community. So Genesis has started testing over in the front half of the welding lab as of Monday, which will significantly help Finney County Health Services and a lot of testing that's needed here in this community there as well. But it is community-based, not just for the college on that side. A couple other items just at your seat that I'll draw attention to there as well. This is the annual cohort default rate study and the information that comes. And the cohort default rate there is essentially a list of, or it's a ratio of the students that we have borrowing federal loans and those that are defaulting on their payments from the student loans. And the one thing that I would say, and again, this is a credit to the financial aid staff and a lot of the work that they do, as well as advisors and coaches and student services staff. When you have a rate that is over 15% nationally, you begin to start having sanctions as far as how it is that you can award federal aid, your student loans. Garden City Community College is at 7.4% for this 3-year cohort default rate, and it's tracking 3 years of student borrowers. That's down from 7.5% last year. The national average for public 2-year colleges is 13.1%. So again, I think that's, that reflects and says a lot about the work that we do as far as, the financial aid staff does entrance counseling, they do exit counseling. They do a lot of follow-ups on phone calls, trying to track students down and let them know that, trying to help them before they go into default. So just a significant amount of work to be able to keep those numbers down, which in turn helps the college and helps our students be able to have access and not have to be sanctioned as far as how it is that the funds can be used there. So wanted to draw your attention to that. And then the other item there at your desk, this is the first edition of the assessment newsletter. Just wanted to highlight and take this with you there for your reading pleasure afterwards. But really what it does is just starts to draw attention to some of the academic programs that we have highlighted here during program reviews, as well as non-academic. This gives you a little bit of insight into some of the things that the different departments have planned as far as goals, some of the things that they've achieved as far as targets and performance on those goals. Within this particular newsletter, it's highlighting student health on the past 2 years as far as their goals and their performance from their assessment plan, but just kind of a culmination of a lot of information that really keeps assessment at the forefront of what it is that we're doing and continuing to improve. Wanted to be able to give you that copy. Got there too. And then finally, the last point that I would bring up there, we have started spring enrollment. This is This is an exciting time there because this is the first semester we've gone through a significant amount of work and processes here on this campus. And there's been some good that came from COVID. And some of the good that came from it there has told us that we need to improve our processes as far as how it is that we do services with students, online registration or online admission processes, working towards online bill pay and different aspects like that. This year, and we started spring enrollment last week, we have a pilot group starting for the first time on our online enrollment through our what's called self-service with Davidville. So we have advisors that are actually able to work with students, whether it be by phone or in their office, and enroll them in their office versus having to take a hard copy enrollment form over to the records office to be processed. So it's really streamlining and improving the processes, the work that we do with students and improving the overall processes of the matter. And then in December, we will actually be moving forward there with a new online admissions application process there as well. And what that process will do, and I'm hopeful that here in December we can do a demonstration for you at the meeting. But what this does is it'll actually take the student from the point that they hit submit on their application, they begin to start getting information from Garden City simultaneously. So when they hit submit to become a student, now they're getting text messages, now they're getting follow-up. If they wanted information for band, if they want information for criminal justice, all that information is going to be tracked. Where before a lot of that was being done manually, now this is going to be done much more electronically and seamlessly there for improved processes. So a lot of work that's been done here over the course of this last 6 months to be able to get us to this point there, but excited about where we're going to do being able to move those services online. That's all I have.
Great. Thanks,
Congratulate the financial aid people. If you look at that first year, we were all suffering that year. And we were so afraid. At first, the government didn't threaten us, or if you want to call it that. We were just kind of going along. And then all of a sudden, we had to be below the national average And I remember that was our nightmare forever. And we had never had a federal program review. And so that first year when they scheduled it, that was the year they shut the government down. We breathed a sigh of relief. We had a little more time to work because they would just go in and they just pull a file and they'd say, what's wrong with, Anyway, this is a real commitment. And I know that schools would be really envious of us having that low of a rate. So please congratulate them for the board.
They need to be commended for the job they're doing.
Oh, they do.
Collecting debts is not easy.
No.
Okay, moving on. Incidental information located on page 32. Anybody have any comments from that? Or everyone can look at that.
Doing a lot of disinfecting, it looks like.
Yeah.
Key word right now.
Dave from Finney County Economic Development Corporation.
No real report. We're just having our meeting Zoom now.
Okay.
Started last month.
Okay. And then Beth from KCCT.
No change from
changes?
last time. Last year's or last meeting's report. We're supposed to meet by Zoom on somewhere around December 5th. Fort Scott will be hosting.
Okay. All right. And then do we have SGA? I know they didn't have school today. We got anybody?
Yeah, I think Taryn is.
Oh, there's Taryn. Okay. Hi, Taryn.
Hi, Taryn.
Hello, how are you guys?
Good.
Good.
It's good to see you guys again. So what has happened in between is we did the pumpkin carving contest and that went really well. We actually decided to buy like the medium-sized pumpkins, and then we just had whoever wanted to paint a pumpkin can come can come paint that pumpkin instead of just having the contest. So more people were involved. And then Halo did a building decoration, and that also went very good. The cosmetology won that contest. And then several clubs are doing community service projects. PTK is doing a Project Angel Tree. Block and Bridal and Farm are doing Philly Ford. And the Criminal Justice is doing a Travis stalking drive. And then SGA, so we were supposed to have a dog run. So the Humane Society would bring in dogs tomorrow to the college, and college students would get the chance to run with the dogs around the college. But unfortunately, because the numbers are high right now, the Humane Society decided to back out. So hopefully we can do that in the future. But right now we are selling t-shirts. So whatever the profit that we make, we can donate it to the Humane Society. So that is what we are working on right now. And that's all that I have to tell you guys. So do you guys have any questions?
Do you have any questions for Taryn? No?
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, and then report from Faculty Senate. Perla?
Yeah.
She was on there earlier.
Hi.
Hi, Perla.
Hi.
Hi, sorry. It always takes me time to get my microphone and camera to work. I apologize. Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be back. So a little bit of what we've been doing with Faculty Senate since our last meeting with you guys. We are still working on a few policies. I believe we are finally ready to be done with the appeals policy that we've been working on since August. So that's going to be sent out to faculty soon, and hopefully onto curriculum and instruction. So we are very excited about that. And then other than policies, we just keep working on trying to survive this semester. But since we're getting to the end, we are focusing on what have we observed, what have we experienced, and what can we do to apply that knowledge to the spring semester. So a lot of the conversations in Faculty Senate with faculty or anyone that really can come over, we've had conversations as to maybe potentially putting a group of faculty together to discuss what we have experienced so far this semester and how can we improve on our teaching techniques, how can we make teaching with Zoom or teaching online a little better. So that is something that we are thinking about. We discussed the different avenues that we already have. I know that administration and Jamie Derler set up a group for us to have COVID-19 discussions at the beginning of the semester. But I think we all kind of forgot about it because we got really busy. We got really into the semester. And now we're kind of thinking, oh, we wish we had a place where we could all discuss things. And it is there. Jamie could see the future. She knew we were going to need it. And she had that ready for us. So we kind of talked a little bit about that, as well as using the Q&As that Mark hosts every other Friday. So that's another avenue to have those conversations. We're also kind of working on some guidelines, some Zoom guidelines that we can possibly have in our syllabi so that all students know what are the minimum requirements when you're in a Zoom class, as well as we are thinking about some quarantine guidelines. So a set of guidelines that every student who goes into quarantine would have, just so that they all have the same kind of guidelines that they can base themselves off of. So just a little bit of putting together all the things that we've observed and we can kind of see that we've seen this semester, and how can we use that information to try and make the semester that is coming up a little better. With that idea, I also want to thank administration for facilitating conversations between faculty and athletics. We had a really good meeting that helped build a stronger bridge between the two sides of the college to, again, help our student athletes knowing that in the spring semester, we're going to have a lot more traveling and we're going to have a lot more students away from campus. And so we're trying to prevent or trying to build things that we can have ready for them and try to make their semester as good as we can. And so that's really all we've been doing, which seems now like a lot. So it just, a lot happens in a month. Any questions?
Marilyn? Yeah, I have a question for all of us to discuss, and it has to do with some of my research that I've been looking at. Has any of the faculty or any administration seen any students who are wanting to protest Black Lives Matter, who are upset about the election, any unrest, and how do we deal with that?
I haven't heard anything from the faculty side. I know that before the election, I did, and I know other faculty also did, just broadcast, our civic duty to vote. We of course did not say vote this way or vote that way, but we did say, hey, if you're eligible, if you can, go ahead and do your duty and go vote. And none of those conversations ever went in a like dangerous direction. And I personally haven't heard anything in that way. I know in the past, we've had students that organized, I think it was it in April, that gathering in downtown area. So I know that our students definitely do get involved, but I haven't heard anything this semester.
Good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. A lot of times, when we do hear some things that can come on the student services side, whether that be SGA, whether that be, in Res Life. But at this point, there hasn't been anything that's drawn our attention to any kind of protest or anything like that matter.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the one thing there too, and I know we've had conversations even before the election, even starting into the semester, but administratively through cabinet and even council, we've had policy discussions and things. So we have areas that are defined as free speech zones on campus. Where if somebody wants to be able to come in and talk with their specific topic, or they want to be able to have an area, there is a defined area here on campus. We do that through policy just so that there are certain timeframes they have to go through and get the approval. And that way we have a way of tracking that information there as well. But past that, we have not had anything there like has been mentioned as far as coming forward.
Awesome.
I think it's a very valid point though, and I think this board probably ought to know what our position is on some of these items as a board. I think it's a very good point to be brought up, and I don't imagine we could probably arrive at what that is now, but maybe we need to have a little more thought as the board. How would we handle a riot for Black Lives Matter? My opinion, we'd let the police handle it, but we wouldn't by any stretch of the imagination condone it. And y'all may think, oh no, we gotta let it go. But I think you're right, Marilyn. I think we need to have some understanding as a board how we're gonna deal with something like that. God forbid it ever happened.
As I was thinking about this, it stemmed from our board retreat, and including diversity and equality and inclusion. And so I think that's the beginnings of a conversation that maybe we want to include those in. I had suggestions of including it in our mission statement or creating an ends to monitor, something like that. But I agree, it comes from the board down, but it needs involvement from all aspects of the campus.
Well, and they know how to react when it happens without us having to be actively involved at the time.
Well, we can't set an ends or a policy or anything if we aren't keeping in touch with what is actually going on to have some direction.
Right. So I just look forward to having that conversation maybe at our retreat or something. But I just wanted to hear if there was any worries
Any worries?
Worries, yeah. Good.
Great.
Thank you for keeping it calm.
Thanks, Carla.
Hey, Perla, last meeting you kind of indicated you were stressed out. How's that going with faculty?
I think we are still stressed out. Now it's a new stress because now we are coming to the end of the semester. So we're trying to figure out how to hold the same rigor with online final exams. And then also kind of, like I said, preparing for the next semester. So we're not quite done with this one, but we still have to prepare it and be ready for the next one. So definitely the stress is still there, but I think I'm hoping that everybody finds a way to deal with it. I know that I just go home and I hug my puppies and that really helps. So
Okay.
Thanks, Carla.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody from the ownership linkage?
I don't know that it's ownership linkage, but I have something I'd like to bring up. If it's okay to do it now before we go on into executive session, if that's the next thing on the item.
If it's deals with public or, yeah, I mean.
Well, when we had that retreat, one of the things that came to me was to expand the visibility throughout our service area. And I've said before, I have a pregnant idea, but I don't know how many of you ever been to a trade show, but I'd like to see us investigate coming up with a Garden City Community College roadshow. Let me give an example. Cimarron, they've got a civic center over there. Go to a trade show, like people all have their little kiosks with everything they can have for you. I would envision having a night and having it directed to the adults, not the students so much, but the adult group that would like to further their education in something, but not have to go to college for it particularly. And having a night where we are advertising and we go over there and we make a emphasis, we take the buses, take the trailer, take people from rodeo, meets, auto mechanics, have some little kiosks, the virtual welding people, or whatever we have to offer there, the cadaver. And I don't understand all of that there is to it, but I would think I would like to see us be proactive in going out to the citizens throughout our trade area and making Garden City Community College a focus for those folks. And it's just some ideas that I've come up with, but I'd like to hear and have y'all think about that and see if there's merit to it. If you think there's merit to it, we could reach to Sublette, we could reach to Lakin, we could reach to Syracuse, Leota, Tribune, Scott City, Dighton, there's all of those. But I would hope it would focus on the adult community, that maybe some lady there wants to know more about getting her CNA, or maybe one wants to be a cosmetologist. Maybe there's a guy there that really would like to know something more about auto mechanics, which today, those of us that grew up 50 years ago, we knew how to work on a car. Today, we don't. And, I don't know. I just thought that, like I said, it's a pregnant idea, but maybe it could give birth. I don't know. And it's not something we have to really talk about tonight, but maybe we could find a time that we could sit down and put our heads together on how this board, and I would see the board members being involved in this visit to these communities. Maybe we take the show choir, they could do a little singing, make it an entertaining, fun night for the people of that community to come say, gosh, Garden City Community College been out in our town.
Sounds like it'd be a great recruitment, whether it be adults or their kids, because
well, I don't want to take anything away from the recruiting that our people that are employed here are doing in the high schools and all. I don't want to take anything from there.
But
I
it
would
also
like to-
shows that we're interested in their community.
Yeah, and maybe there's somebody that wants to be a police officer. I don't know. It's a thought.
Worth thinking about.
I'm done, Blake.
Okay. No worries. Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna just briefly touch over the upcoming calendar dates, just as we go then into executive session, we'll come out and adjourn the meeting. Obviously, the exploration day tomorrow, no classes. Carols with Critters on November 14th, that's still a go? Yep, okay. And then Thanksgiving break, all week there, November 23rd through the 29th, that's coming up quickly. And then there's if you've never been to the Student Holiday Art Sale, that's pretty neat, tentatively for the 30th through the 4th of December. Final exams week, that's gonna be all done online, correct?
Correct.
Yep. And then our next Board of Trustees meeting will be 6 p.m. right here on December 8th. And tentatively, if that works in your schedule, that would be that Saturday, maybe putting on for a board retreat or a work session over some of our goals. But otherwise, Christmas break, December 19th through January 3rd, where the campus will be closed. So with that, I would like to go ahead and if we can get into call a motion for executive session.
Mr. Chairman, please, I move that the board recess into executive session to discuss confidential employee information pursuant to open meetings exception for personnel's matters on non-elected personnel, which if discussed in an open meeting might violate their right to privacy, and that only board members be included and Dr. Ruda?
No.
No, Dr.
Just
Ruda,
the
sorry.
board.
The open meeting will resume in the conference room in 20 minutes.
I have a motion for executive session.
Second it.
I have a motion from Marilyn and a second from Beth. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We'll do a roll call quickly. This is Blake Wassinger, aye.
Canada, aye. Marilyn Douglas, aye.
Beth Tedrow, aye.
David Roth, aye.
Leonard Hitz, aye.
Okay, we have 7:09, so 7:29 we'll resume. So you guys want to come on over?
I am stiff.
Yeah,
Just trying to stand
Steve
up.
does that to a person, to all of us.
I think it was getting my yard and everything ready for the snow that didn't come. Last week.
Ooh, got good rain.
you need the other half there. just-
I know, I need the sugar now to cut me up.
Okay, we have returned from executive session. And there was no action taken. So I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thank you all.
Thanks for the reminder, Leonard.